Take your spotlight. If I wrote you a symphony, just to say how much you mean to me, what would you do? If I told you you were beautiful, would you date me on the regular? Tell me, would you? Well, baby, I've been around the world, but I ain't seen myself another girl like you. This ring here represents my heart, but there's just one thing I need from you. Say I do. Because I can see us holding hands, walking on the beach, our toes in the sand. I can see us on the countryside, sitting on the grassland side by side. You could be my baby, let me make you my lady. Girl, you amaze me, ain't gotta do nothing crazy. See, all I want you to do is be my love. So don't give away my love. So don't give away my love. So don't give away. Ain't another woman that can take your spot, my love. So don't give away my love. So don't give away my love. So don't give away. Ain't another woman that can take your spot, my love. I'll share my world with you.
Hey y'all, so I've been running a lot of errands and I look crazy, but it's okay. So this morning I worked out and then I ran to Goodwill to donate some clothes. Some of that stuff I can't really just record because it's like so quick, like an in and out. I donated my plastic bags at Kroger, and then I had got a few items at Kroger, and I went to Ulta and I had found some good perfume. It's by DimetheDiamond, that oil that I love to use, the vanilla musk. Hold on y'all. But yeah, that vanilla musk and that amber one from DimetheDiamond, oh my goodness. Yeah, right here is the turn. My goodness, it's so good. And I'm at Olive Garden, so y'all can come with me to Olive Garden. Then after that, I'm gonna run to Target for my last little errands, and then I'm gonna come up in here and go home. I mean, not come up here. I was talking about Olive Garden. I'm finna I'm gonna park real quick and chill, probably vlog there for a little bit. I need to wash my hair, y'all. It's a lot of stuff that I need to do.
Treating me so bad. You said you love me, don't wanna bump me, and I was all you had. And all my heart is beating for you, I can't stop crying. I don't know how I allow you to treat me this way, and still I stay. See, my days are cool without you. Without you, and my heart can't take no more. I keep on running back. See, my days are cool without you. Without you. No more, I keep on running back to you. Baby, I don't know why you wanna do me wrong. See, when I'm home, I'm all alone, and you are always gone. Boy, you know I really love you, I can't deny. I can't see how you could bring me to so many tears after all these years. See, my days are cold without you. My days, yeah. And my heart can't take no more, I keep on running back to you. Without you, without you, I keep on running back to you. I trusted you, I trusted you. So sad, what love will make you do. All the things that we accept, be the things that we.
As if you're going into it, then let it cut off.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, hold on. So, 7, 8, Wait, how does it run off?
Hey vlog. So today is, I'm never ready. Saturday, April 27th is 6:42. I'm with my friend Monte. And we just got done having a dancing session. We trying to do one last song, but the connection in the gym is terrible. But we gonna go get us something to eat. I'm gonna see y'all later. Hey vlog, so today is Sunday. Y'all know I don't like vlogging on Sundays. Just finished doing this perm rod and I'm editing, and I realized that I didn't talk about work. So I'm going back to my notes. Okay. So I worked April 24th because that's the week we on. So on April 24th, we had an induction, and then the patient had the baby, and then we had a direct admit. So the whole thing was from scratch. So when we had that patient, it was basically like a lot of stuff going on as far as like admission. So you have to do all the assessments, and basically what I learned that day is that although the assessment questions, there's like over 100, there's so many questions. Hold on y'all, there are so many questions that you have to ask a patient when you're admitting them, and I did not know that it was that much. It was so much. So what I was taught from a different like preceptor was that you have to learn how to either ask the questions in a condensed form to where you can get all your information, or like section them out, because it's going to be like information or question overload for the patient. So you need to figure out how many questions can I ask in this section that has like 13 questions, and how can I word my questions to where I'm getting the information that I need. I'm not guessing on the answers. That one question makes the patient tell you all the information that you need for those 13 questions. And some of those, no, majority of those questions, no, all of the questions are yes or no questions, but that are on the screening. But the way that you ask your question could be open-ended for the patient, and they can give you all the answers that you need for the yes and no. So if you say, do you feel like hurting yourself or others, or like how are you feeling today or something, and they'll go into detail about, no, I don't feel like hurting myself and I feel blah blah blah. You can kind of tell whether the person is like depressed or not. You can get their alert, like their level of orientation or like consciousness and stuff like that. You can get a lot of your questions. This is probably not the best example, but like you can get a lot of the answers that you need to the questions by just, you know, by talking to them and asking an open-ended question that's going to get them to keep talking to you. I also, this week I did a lot of starting IVs, y'all. Like every patient I had to start IVs for, because I feel like this was my admission week. Like almost all my patients were admits to where we had to start over from scratch. I also learned more about getting labs, so I got more comfortable with using my, because that's one of the critiques that my preceptor said, was learn how to use your hand, like, I guess, what do I call it? I don't know how to describe it, because she said something like dexterity, and I know, but I think she said one-handed dexterity. If that's not right, I'm sorry. But basically, she was basically telling me like, you're not gonna have extra hands while you're working. I'm helping you right now, but you have to learn to be independent. So maybe practice using one hand. Like, okay, I'm starting the IV using both of my hands, but once they go to pull to like draw blood for the lab, you have to use the vacuum tube and press the tube into the vacuum seal. So you have to learn how to use that with one hand. So I was like, oh, okay. Like when you're doing it, you're kind of like, oh, this is kind of challenging. But once, like I told y'all, this was my admission week, I got real good, even using the butterfly needle. Like I was always good at butterflies, but it's easier to do that. But with the IV, you have to literally hold one part of the IV to kind of like get it all together. You got to use one hand. So I was learning that. And that was Wednesday, April 24th. Now, see, I feel like when I give y'all these recaps and I make notes, it's a lot better. But when I give y'all recaps and I just be forgetting because I didn't make no notes, that's what make it bad. So now moving on to, I think Monday we had an induction and admission and I got to do labs. But the same thing happened on the 24th as well. But the 22nd, there wasn't really anything like super remarkable. It probably was like admission day, but I don't really remember much because I didn't put no notes for it. But on the same day that I was telling y'all about the 24th, basically the anesthesiologist was being like pressy. We didn't really have like a lot of scheduled procedures in the OR, but the person was being very like, they were not trying to let my preceptor teach me things or like take the time out to let me learn stuff. Like she kept saying, this is the perfect day or perfect time for you to learn a lot right now, because it's really nothing else behind us. We are really literally the only case right now. And I was like, cool. That doesn't mean that we were taking our sweet precious time. No, there was a lot of information. I was learning a lot of things, but I feel like because it wasn't paced to that certain person's speed, it was, or like, I don't know, time, it was kind of annoying, because it's like, for one, she's literally telling you that we need our new grads to get more comfortable with starting IVs and doing all of these things, because once they're on their own, you know, you're by yourself. So it just was kind of disappointing to see someone have to, which was my preceptor, having to repeat herself about something that I feel like should make sense to you, especially for one, it's repeated to you several different times. And then another thing is, how did you feel when you were, you know, starting to go to school for what you went to school for? You had to learn at some point too. So it's like, it's disappointing to see that the difference between people who, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, we all have to start somewhere. So for you to not understand or have patience for someone who's joining your team, learning, you know, all of those things, it was like, how, like, you have to start somewhere too. So you know how it feels to be new and trying to learn all of these things and trying to get it together. So it's kind of like, but God handled that for me. God handled that for me. They got chewed out by they attended. So that's all I'm gonna say. I ain't gotta worry about it. And I wasn't upset. My preceptor really was the one who brought it to my attention that there was some type of like feeling or experience that, or like some type of, not animosity, but she brought it to my attention that there was a problem, because I was just overlooking it. And when I started paying attention, I was like, oh, this person is doing me like that. Cool. And I just left it alone at that. I can't go into really too much detail because I don't want to. But yeah. Now let's go to the 25th. The 25th was Thursday. So on Thursday, we had another induction. I'm starting to learn that inductions are very common, but also I forgot the other word. It starts with an A. I'll remember later. But there's always a lot of inductions, and that I learned more about late decels. I'm gonna read my notes. Learn more about late decels and the interventions for them on both shifts. So that was meaning the 24th and the 25th. But the 25th was really packed with a lot of learning about how you need to be watching your strip and watch it for those late decels, because if you're sitting there, because like one decel is enough. Like that's what I'm learning. One decel is enough. Don't say, okay, one decel happened and not monitor for others. That one decel is a red flag to you. Okay, what's going on? It shouldn't be that one decel came, okay, whatever, I'm not gonna pay attention to my strip, I saw the decel. No. That late decel came. What are your interventions? Because this could be a prolonged decel. This could be this could be a issue underlying, right? So the interventions that I learned were to move mom. So do position changes, fluids, do a bolus of lactated ringers, or position changes, fluids, oxygen. Give mom oxygen, because whatever mom gets, baby gets too. If all of those interventions fail, and I'm pretty sure it's like one more, but if all of those fail, then it's time to get some extra help. Always contact if it's like their provider, always contact their provider. If you need to call OB emergency or staff assist is always first, and then if it's like too much going on, then you'll get OB emergency. But sometimes when you call staff assist and you contact the healthcare provider, I mean the leading provider or physician, they'll come in, they'll say, okay, we're gonna do more position changes, give more fluids or some type of medication. Like, remember when I told y'all I had the stat C-section, and I think this was like last week or the week before, and they were talking about terbutaline. This is the last vlog, and they were saying push push terbutaline. I'm gonna learn that word, y'all. Push terbutaline. And I was like, I told y'all, I was like, who was that? No, they said Turb. They said Turb. And I was like, who was that? What is that? And I'm just looking like, but anyway, so stuff like that. Like the physicians will come, like they're watching the strip with you. So once you start calling, blah, 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 they're going to be in there. Okay, did you do this? Did you do that? Okay, we're going to try this position and this. Push this fluids. Okay, we're gonna push turb. We're gonna do this, like stuff like that. So I learned more about late D cells and the intervention, because you can learn about late D cells. Okay, I recognize that that's a late D cell. I acknowledge that, and I've charted and documented that I seen that D cell. Okay, so what do? I was learning more about what to do. Also accelerations as well. Like I learned that you have to chart when you note that, because my baby that I had, they were within the 110s to 160s, but they jumped up to the 180s. And another thing, pay attention to the toco and the ultrasound monitor, and also your strip, because the system that we have, it shows red, like something is wrong. So it's crazy, because I'm not gonna say it's not a challenging thing, because once you get all of this down, it'll be simple. But you have so many red flags. Like with the IV machine, you have guardrails. That's to save your butt, because it's a guardrail. It's guarding you from making a mistake, right? With the strip monitor, that system that we use, it flashes when something's wrong. A baby's decelling, it's flashing and it's telling you to acknowledge it. Or a baby's accelerating, the screen goes red and it shows you that something's wrong. The toco machine also says the same thing. It'll make a noise, like it'll tell, like you're literally getting so much like assistance with machines that it's like it's starting to click, and it's starting to be more understandable. Another thing that I learned was when to call MUSE, which is maternal early warning signs, or system or something like that, where it's like mom has a high temperature, she has tachycardia. It's basically, I feel like, and don't quote me on this, it's the early signs of sepsis to me, because 2 T's and 1 W, you know, white blood cells is a W, or it's probably another one, but tachypnea and tachycardia, and then the high temp, the T's. So I was just noticing, like and blood pressure, I was noticing a lot of the T's, and I was like, oh, okay, this kind of giving me like sepsis vibes, but it's really like choreo, like infection basically. So my mom had high blood pressure, and another thing I learned, I'm sorry, I'll just keep going in, baselines for your patients. Oh my God, I cannot stress this enough. My mom baseline was 120s over 80s. She kept going into the 130s over like 90s. One time she was in 140s over 90s. Then she was at 160s over 100s. And we was like, oh my gosh, like learning, like the monitor will beep and tell you that there's something wrong, but you need to pay attention. Is this like a one-time thing where her heart rate or her blood pressure shot up and then it's like no more? Because even then, that's still a sign too. But is it like consistently going up, and for how long? Hours, her heart rate was going up from, like, we noticed 120 heart rate from 2 p.m. all the way until a shift change. That is too long. 2 p.m. to 6 to 7 p.m. too long. So she was like, I'm gonna teach you how to call MUSE. And I was like, okay, now I know. Because there's one thing to have the little card and it's telling you the information, but to see it in action, I was like, okay, I understand now. And I definitely understand the importance of knowing your patient's baseline, because if you don't know their baseline, because like some people, okay, let me give y'all another example. So when I was in class for one of my like conference days, the teacher was telling us about, well, the CRN was telling us about how one mom's baseline was 90 systolic blood pressure of 90 over 50 or something, like, I don't know. It was like in the 90s, right? But they would take her blood pressure and it'll be like 110, it'll be like 120s. And to us, we know that 120 over 80 is pretty much like normal, or like pre-hypertensive or something like that. But for her, that's, oh my gosh, that specific patient, that's almost like stroke vitals for her, because her norm is low. It's pretty low, like in the 90s. And for her to jump all the way to the 120s over something is like a red flag, because it's like, that's not your norm. So she was acting different. They was noticing like, oh, she's acting different. She's not responding well. You know, it was just, a lot of stuff that they were picking up on, they was like, well, what's her blood pressure? Okay, it's 120 or something. Okay, that's normal. Then somebody was like, what's her baseline? And then they found out her baseline was like in the 90s. They was like, okay, this is not good. This is stroke blood pressure for this patient specifically. So it's like I'm learning that we are learning like the basics of like health, like in general, like, okay, of course 180 over 200 or 180 over 190 or 180 is stroke, or 200 over something, 200 diastolic and whatever, I mean 200 systolic and whatever, like 100 or 100 plus diastolic is stroke vitals, right? I mean a stroke blood pressure, right? But to someone else, because everybody is unique, it won't even probably get that high. Theirs will be what we think is the norm. So I'm learning that we know the basics, like the normal heart rate is 60 to 100. Okay, but for athletes, their heart rate is lower, like 40s to something, you know. So it's like and even their respiration. So it's just like knowing that although you know what the expected, because I don't even want to say normal, because everybody's normal is not the same. So your expected range is from 60 to 100, but you have to recognize or realize that some people's norm is outside of those learned expected ranges. Like, for example, I'm gonna bring up another example, then I'm gonna stop. For example, people who have hypertension, their norm is a high blood pressure, right? Even though we know that that's not an expected range of a blood pressure, but for them that's their norm. So you have to know that's their new baseline. Their baseline is not, or probably wasn't ever in the expected range. Their baseline is outside of the expected range. So when they go above that or outside of their specific unique baseline, that's why you got to pay attention. So I was like, okay, it's very detail oriented. So yeah, I guess that'll wrap it all up. That's what I learned, and I'm like grateful to get concepts and information, but also have an experience, a learning experience with it as well, because it really helps you connect the dots. So that's all I can say. Now I'm gonna continue editing, put this vlog out so that I don't fall behind no more. So I'll see y'all next week. I hope y'all had a good week. I hope y'all had a good Sunday, and I'll see y'all in the next week vlog.